Welcome everyone to the LEC post-game lobby, your favorite after show. I'm Sjokz, joined here with Deficio and Gilius, who I believe is calling in. I don't know if he's already there, but
I saw him.
Join. You did?
I saw him. He was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can hear him
We can
too.
hear you. We can't see you, which is of course always a shame. I'm sure we'll see you soon. Hi, Gilius. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. What about you?
Oh, pretty good. I mean, it was a banging match of the week. You also won your game, so I guess you're feeling a bit better than you did yesterday.
Yeah, for sure. I was kind of feeling depressed the last weeks, but now it's a bit better.
Yeah. Well, we'll have a lot of time to talk about your team and what's been happening. First, though, let's wrap up the match of the week. Deficio, it was nuts, but in the end, Rogue made it.
I mean, I guess that's what everyone wanted, right? Banger game, showing why it was match of the week. I was surprised early on with actually how one-sided it looked initially, until the good old Aatrox late game fights and Orianna outscale, I guess. I actually have no idea how good Ari is. I have zero clue.
I guess Gilius doesn't know either.
Gilius, do you know?
But
Help us.
Yeah, we didn't know it's good until we lost to it. It seems pretty strong. I mean, the Ari has to hit the charms, and Humanoid seems to be hitting them, so.
yeah, that's true. I guess, yeah, everything stands and falls with the charm because, I mean, she's not considered strong at all because she had a lot of bad matchups, for instance, against the Ori, but it doesn't seem to matter. It's just one of those things that sometimes comes up in the pro play, and some people can work with it, some people can't. Overall, though, Gilius, what did you think about the match of the week and the performances of both teams?
I was pretty surprised by how good Mad Lions played. They played really well yesterday versus us as well, and I thought Mad Lions would take it after they took Ocean Soul, and it was looking pretty good, and then I don't know what happened, but they just lost. So.
I mean, it is kind of hard to lose with Ocean Soul.
Normally, but...
Normally. We've seen it a couple of times, actually, in the LEC.
I mean, I think, I'm interested also in Gilius' point on that, but I feel like team fights have gotten so fast compared to like a couple of years ago when you had these like super long drawn out fights. And now there's like 7 million champions with like tons of gap closers, instant CC, and like really high burst damage. I guess also with the new items, you know, that were added in. And it just seems so hard to have these like long drawn out fights where a lot of extra sustain really like kicks in. Like we saw it again with this one, right? The big Baron fight. Odamne lands the sick Q, and there's an Orianna coming in, and then smack 3 people just die in like 2 seconds. So I guess fights have gotten like, they've changed a lot compared to a couple of years ago when we had also longer games than we're seeing now typically. I'm not sure how it is for you, Gilius, and what do you feel there?
They also buffed healing reduction items, so Ocean Soul maybe is a bit worse now. But yeah, generally the game is full of CC and like big team fight abilities, so usually comes down to a big team fight, and the team that plays it better wins, you know, like Rogue somehow found that shockwave, and Odo healed like with one Aatrox Q, he healed like 1,000 HP. Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
He had 3 HP before he healed, apparently.
Nice. But I think it's good changes, to be fair. Like from a viewer perspective, like I know it can be very stressful, of course, as players sometimes, and sometimes games can like snowball out of control completely. But I feel as a viewer, the addition, like the way the Drakes are forcing action one way or the other, even if you want to give them up early, like you're going to contest the third or fourth one, the amount of damage in the game gives a lot of playmaking.
You okay? Need some water?
So sad that we don't have the 6-minute games anymore. I'm just like, I really miss them. But no, I don't know what's happened there with the throat. But I think it's good changes compared to like, I also think back to like, 3-4 years ago again. We could legitimately have multiple games that were like 60-minute long with like 5 kills or something.
Yeah.
And that's obviously not as entertaining as a viewer than what we have now.
Yeah, and also I wonder if it means that also your mechanical prowess has to be at a higher level because of the split decisions that are so important in those single team fights that go so fast. Gilius, do you think that there's more pressure on having the best mechanics because so much comes down to the split second and the fast team fights?
Well, like for jungle roles specifically, you need better mechanics nowadays for sure, because you cannot just play Sejuani and like tanks all the time. You actually have to play squishy champs and position yourself well. And yeah, the game becomes harder every year because they are changing champions, they're reworking them, they're bringing new items, new champions in. So you have to learn all of this and basically build it into your brain, right? Like muscle memory wise. So you know every ability. Like now Everfrost came in this patch.
Yeah.
And then, and people had to get used to it, right? Like there's someone just shooting a CC thing in your face or like expecting it to happen, right?
Do you see that as a challenge that you welcome because it keeps you on your toes and it also gives you the opportunity to kind of maybe find out new things? Or are you at that point in your career that you think, you know what, I kind of just want to master the craft that I have?
Yeah, I would prefer to just master my craft. That's why I enjoy playing on the same patch for like more weeks in a row, more than like patches changing and me having to adapt week by week, because I like to really spam specific champs and be really good at them before I just play them in an official game.
Yeah.
And that's why I usually enjoy the early season games and the end of season and playoff games the most because they're usually on one singular patch.
And it's actually like generally a big discussion in teams around kind of work hours.
Yeah.
Because the game constantly does change. Like it's really hard as a player to not feel forced almost for yourself as well to go home, play solo queue after scrims, make sure again you're completely up to date on all the different champions you have to play, discover new things, new item builds. You see something in Korea, you have to try and go do this and so on to like show up prepared for your practice. Even though you practice, your scrim is supposed to be where you prepare.
Yeah.
You have to show up ready as a player. You can't show up not having played certain champions, right? And it makes the kind of work-life balance really difficult. Where compared to like Counter-Strike, we see a lot more on the same patch, the same game for a long period of time, and it becomes like a way different practice environment. I remember from talking to a lot of the Astralis players, you know, from Counter-Strike, more specific set hours that they could play Counter-Strike, but they don't have to spend as many hours as maybe a League of Legends pro because of solo queue and scrimming coming in.
Gilius, what do you think about that, and how do you feel about your work-life balance right now?
Well, when the spring split started, it was going good because I just fresh came from home, right, from my family, friends. But now I'm kind of struggling, honestly, like not really finding time for anything. And Corona is not making it any better because I would like to spend my weekends going to the cinema or going to restaurants, and I can't do that. Yeah, like I've been struggling quite a bit the last weeks when it comes to my mental well-being. So I'm just trying to work through it and just be the meme, the guy who is crying under the smiling mask. That's basically me the last weeks.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'd love to talk to you a little bit about that because I think it's something that is becoming more and more talked about and is very, very important, mental health of players in general. And I'm actually glad that you brought it up because there's a lot that you're thinking about, right? As Deficio brought up, the thing that you have to keep up with everything. And in your case also, that you are very much a face of your team. And you're the guy who always goes out and talks to anyone when it's going good or it's going bad. And I can imagine that also just ups the pressure specifically now when everyone's kind of looking at you. How do you deal with it, and how does the team help you to deal with that?
Yeah, I feel like I put a lot of pressure on myself coming into this whole season, and I didn't expect myself to underperform like this the last weeks and kind of let my team down, because I'm pretty sure my teammates had high expectations coming to the split with how everything was looking in the start. And now we started crumbling, and I feel kind of sorry for my teammates that they have to go through this. And yeah, I mean, I'm talking to my teammates. Like tomorrow I will have a call with some of my teammates and we will try to figure out stuff, how we can make this work this last Super Week, because it's going to be a really important week for all of us. And yeah, we're just going to hustle through it, honestly. Like there's only one more week left and we're not going home. We're aiming for playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder how you as a person, how would the Gilius Is the Gilius of 2021 reacting different to a situation like this than the Gilius of a few years ago? Do you feel like you are more mature in your approach when things are going bad and you have better coping mechanisms?
I think I can, like in a lose streak, I think there could be many players that are easier to work with than me. Like I really get down on myself, and I'm pretty sure my teammates can feel the tension when I lose or like play bad, and you can see that it really bothers me that when I lose or when I play bad, that like I'm not that, like I don't know how to explain this, but when I have a bad day, it becomes a really bad day for me. I really just dig a hole in my head for myself. So I'm still trying to figure out how I can be better every day. And I think I'm doing really well in scrims nowadays. Like compared to other years of my career, I would have some days in scrims where I just int, and now I'm really consistent and doing pretty well every day. And yeah, when I just have to figure out how to deal with losses, honestly, because I'm, I think, a pretty bad loser when it comes to this.
Yeah, I mean, on the one hand,
I was going to say, like, huge respect for
absolutely
being very open about it, but also again, like, acknowledge the situation and yourself and so on. I think like that's what you want to see from a player on your team and from a teammate, 100%, because that's how you can get through these kind of situations and how you can also try and help someone who might react differently on losses and so on. So like, I think a lot of respect there, and it shows like a lot of growth as well.
Yeah, props to you, Gilius. And I think it's one of those things that is not unique to esports, right? It is working in a team environment and working towards your goals and going through things. Everyone reacts differently, but the first step is knowing that maybe you have to do it differently, because it's not just about you, it is about the team and everyone around you. But that also means that the team then also has to help and adjust to you. So it's not easy. So thank you very much for opening up. And of course, the best of luck. I feel like, yeah, this has been a very introspective interview because it's not the best time for Schalke, but you did come off a win, and everything is possible in the race for playoffs. It is a super week next week. So let's take a look at your strength of schedule. I don't know if we have it actually. I believe we do. Yes, you're playing Fnatic, Vitality, and Excel. What are your thoughts about it? It's a bit of a mixed bag.
So we have insanely good scrim results with Excel in the last weeks. We kind of had to scrim them because, you know, when you're on a lose streak, you kind of have to scrim the bottom half a lot. So, like, I think with Excel, we're looking good going into it. With Vitality, I'm unsure. With Crownshot, they kind of look like a different team now, but I think we should be able to take that as well. And Fnatic will just come down to, honestly, like, they are so explosive. We just have to fucking survive the first 15 minutes of the game, and then I think we can beat them. But it's not easy to survive the early game with that team. No. Like, they are very explosive and aggressive, so we will see how that one goes.
Yeah, they are. They've been up and down, but they are a team to fear. And he's also right about Vitality. I know you feel the same way.
We play them as well. Like, we play Vitality, we also play Fnatic, and then we just have Mad Lions instead of XL. So obviously, tougher opponent there, but I mean, I'm really excited for Super because I think like the remaining schedule for Schalke, for us, and even for Vitality, because they, funny enough, play like Misfits, Schalke, and I believe it's Astralis.
Yeah.
Like, actually fairly winnable schedules. Like in terms of getting like 1 to 2, maybe 2 wins can be the key to lock that playoff spot for either Schalke or us. And obviously Vitality will have to win all 3, and I believe need some other results to go their way as well. So, I mean, Vitality are just hard to predict, because I don't feel like they're like amazing and they're just gonna like, you know, destroy you or anything, but they have really good playmakers.
Yeah.
And I think like Labrov especially with Crownshot now, can play a lot better, which is gonna be super interesting.
Yeah, and as Gilius will be the first person to tell you, momentum can play a big role, especially coming into those last
100%.
weeks. And I think that's why it's also that you're saying you're so focused on that super week, because you can't come out of that thinking that you didn't do everything to make it. In terms of playoffs though, only G2, Rogue, and Mad are already in the playoffs. Now, Rogue and G2 are locked in the top 4, and in terms of Vitality specifically, in 5.6% of the remaining scenarios have Vitality making playoffs. I'd love to know if production can tell me before the last week of summer what the percentage was for Schalke. Because
it was definitely low, I remember.
Definitely
very low. We were on the receiving end of that as well when Schalke destroyed
4
us.
4 point something or 1 point something?
Very,
4
very
point
low.
something it was.
Very
Very low, yeah.
Yeah.
I find SK Gaming interesting. Like,
Yeah.
they will probably make playoffs because of all the wins they have picked up, but last couple of games have been super rough for them. And like, there's a lot they need to figure out in the last week as well, before going into playoffs. I don't know what the chances are of them actually potentially not making it, but I would assume it's super low because both us and Schalke would have to win most of our games to knock them out. But it's going to be interesting because I think whoever gets number 6 and potentially plays SK Gaming, like, this is not to like pull them down or anything, but like, I think that is going to be a super even open, like, best out of 5, where you're not even if you're coming as the bottom seed are going to feel scared at all in your first game.
I had that same thought, by the way.
Yeah.
Boom.
Crazy.
Great minds
yeah.
think alike.
Yeah, I was thinking that SK, no matter where they are placed right now, they are getting knocked out in the first round of playoffs anyway. And if you're going into playoffs as 6th seed and you're lucky enough to face SK, you're just going to semifinals for free, basically.
Well, you know, for free is saying a lot. It is, of course, a best of 5, but more confident against the likes of SK. But when you look at kind of, you know, you have G2, of course, you have Rogue, you have Mad Lions, you most likely have Fnatic as well. This might be controversial, but outside of G2, I feel like everyone could take on each other in a best of 5 seriously, maybe, because I've seen Rogue now falter a couple of times, like in this early game versus Mad Lions yesterday.
But that was against G2 and Mad Lions.
True,
who
that's
are,
actually a great
to be
point.
fair, top
But Mad
14.
Lions, I feel like, is pretty unpredictable and sometimes have very high highs.
That's
and then
true.
I don't know. I'm very excited for the playoffs because I have a lot of questions.
I think the top 4 teams right now are fairly stacked, like, individually. But
True.
I just feel like the games are so volatile.
Yeah.
So many things can go wrong in the game where you can get completely snowballed on. And, you know, if you have what we see often with teams heading into playoffs, especially if they find like 1 or 2 key picks for them in practice before the best of 5, potentially one of them can be a surprise, maybe is one you're familiar with, where they feel like super confident on those picks. Typically, they're going to get them in the first game, potentially even the second game of a series, and that can be enough to really swing it in your favor, especially the series momentum. So, because I believe in like us and Schalke and so on and the talent on those lineups as well, like you can contest for sure against the top 4 teams in these BO5s. G2 is of course going to be the end boss, who will just have the biggest advantage and will be by far the hardest. But like, I think a lot of upsets can actually happen in this playoffs here. Also with the way the meta is and the game.
Exciting stuff, for sure. We have to move on. We didn't crown the player of the game from the last game. The Kia player of the game from Game 5 is Odoamne, 63% of the votes. Maybe a little comment from Gilius for your ex-teammate?
He's a beast for sure. Like, he's doing really well on Rogue. I'm really happy for him that he is having a successful spring split, which he didn't have last year.
No.
So,
I mean,
really
he's
happy for
often
him.
struggled, right? I see the smile on your
Yeah.
face immediately, but yeah, true. Let's take a look at the Kia player of the game leaderboard. I don't put this in first because this guy can't lose a player of the game vote. Turkey too strong. They're always voting for him if he's in it. Then Hansama, same with France, actually. Not that they don't deserve it, by the way. I just mean
Yeah, some pop-off
they
games too.
have
Helps.
some good fan bases there. Reckless, of course, Treats, and Self-Made. Pretty surprising leaderboard.
It's very split. Yeah, I mean, if you
Very split across the
I mean, so
rules, too.
before the season started, seeing Reckless, Hansama, and Self-Made there, probably not too surprising. Obviously, I didn't expect Treats or Armut to
Treats
be on it
is kinda
initially,
nuts,
but
actually.
I think Treats has had some really good pop-off games for sure.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
impressive.
he's doing good. Yeah.
Happy for him as well.
Very happy for him. Just joy all around. Next week is an LEC Super Week. As said already, we have games on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This is the schedule for the opening day where two of our top teams, SK and Rogue, are facing off. So we have SK versus Rogue, Vitality Astralis, Schalke Fnatic, Mad Misfits, and G2 rather XL. Oof, that middle of the board. I mean, every game counts. I know you love when we say that.
Of course.
But,
Well, so the first game is the least important for playoffs, right? Because they're already, like, I mean, no, maybe for SK it's relevant, but like they're number 5 now. Rogue is obviously sitting towards
I mean, you
the
still
top.
want to win that.
Yeah, of course. But
Yeah.
like the next 4 games, Vitality, if they lose a single game, they're out.
Yeah.
So obviously all pressure on them in the Astralis game, 0 pressure on Astralis. They can do whatever they want, whatever surprises. It's actually super annoying to go into that game.
That
because
is annoying.
They can legitimately practice 5 new like surprise picks if they want to, and like try and be crazy. And then the next 3, obviously, Schalke versus us, basically would be the full story, I feel like,
Yeah.
during the Super Week.
And Gilius, you start off with Fnatic. That's like go big or go home situation, but that's also an opportunity.
Yeah, I'm not so afraid of Fnatic. Like, I would be more afraid of facing like a team like G2 or Rogue. I feel like Fnatic, they are very fast team and they play fast, and if you can just hold on to the pressure, they usually make a lot of mistakes. But that's going to be interesting. I always enjoy playing with the self-made, so it's always fun.
It sure is. So I think that's about it. We used up a lot of time as well. So if you don't mind, I'd like to take the PGL selfie with you, Gilius, for good luck for next week. As long as it's not a monologue, right?
This is my first time. I don't know what we do.
Oh, you haven't done a
No.
PGL selfie?
Oh.
Well, it's very difficult.
I didn't know you did it on camera.
What? Do you not watch the show?
I watch every PGL except for the last minute of it. I just tune out.
All right, anyway, you don't have to do that much. Oh, here we go.
Wait.
Okay.
That's fine. Perfect.
Nice.
Got it.
Thank you, Gilius.
Thank you, Gilius,
Miss you.
thank
for
you.
your candid words. Really nice
Good
conversation.
luck, Deficio, next week.
Thank you, mate.
True.
Likewise.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for the conversation. And everyone at home, thank you. That was all from us here in Berlin. Be sure to tune into the LCS Cloud9 Team Liquid facing off later tonight. We'll be back next Friday for Super Week. See you then. Juicy.
Checker lads here. Oh, you got to be careful. There is a mad cow sitting in that bush. Oh, he might be in a bit of a pickle, but Excel is around. I'm not sure they want to go for that.
It's Lavrov behind enemy lines right now. What's going on here, mate? What's going on here? I'm not sure that's the play he's going for it, though. He catches Dan out. The spy mission worked. Oh, my word. Absolute saboteur.
Racking my brain a little bit here to think about, you know what, never mind, because why not? He sees his window, he's jumping in.
And the raid boss comes straight in from Astralis, gets taken low. Oh, it's a big engage onto Limit, and they pick him off.
That is some Renekton damage. Jose coming in with the follow-up. CC Treats is getting absolutely nothing done. Zinitsky off to the side, and it is the meat grinder of Fnatic. There is no room to move. There is no room to maneuver. There is no room for SK on this Rift. Come on back. He oversteps for a second. The full tank Hakarim takes 70% of his health with 2 abilities, and Caps isn't even going to get an assist. My God, that is a powerful pony. Maybe Blue can outplay the cleanse, the sidestep, but it's not enough. He walks back into tower range. There's too much CC, and he drops in the end. Double for upset. Fnatic take the fight.
He does have flash available if he wants it. Will hold onto it for a very long time.
Get it, but it's Treats over the wall, making it out to safety and upset, getting taken down. The collapse comes in for G2, and it's a 1-for-1 in the end.
Magi Felix will pick up the kill nice and easy. Okay, that's Jessica using the ultimate already now. Vidaga uses the Emperor Divine, tries to shove everybody into Broken Blade.
Just like that, Mad Lions, what more can you ask for? Flash smite, and Udyr up and available. Odoamne acting on the front line, but he's just taking so much damage. They're just deleting him. There's no room, and now it's fired into the midst of everyone. The shutdown, it's fired on the chase. Run, Udyr, run! Run, stun, job done! Are you kidding me, Rogue? How did you make that work?